All right, thank you very much for waiting for us, guys. We will start. I'll let the poll run on the background. I hope my screen is clear. Can you guys see my screen? All right, so just a quick recap, we are actually talking about COVID-19 managing stress and anxiety today. Today's session is actually brought to you by Lai Simiat and team, and also the lovely people at Beacon Hospital and also Dr. Azlin. My name is Sanjeev and I will actually be your host for today. This is our beautiful Dr. Azlin. She will have a session later. Don't forget to take our polls while you wait. So let me jump into it. Now, a little background on Lai Simiat and team. We pride ourselves on care, love, and commitment in everything we do, actually. And here is a quick look at the working committee. We have Miss Lai, we have Sanjeev, me, Kaden, Elaine, Satya, Sozia, and Bovin. You may recognize some of them as the people who have actually introduced you or even brought you for this talk. Now, in the mix of all of these guys, we have financial planners, we have wealth advisors, we have estate planners, will writers, and investment experts. So at the end of the day, what we actually do is we provide a service, a one-stop financial planning center. And our service is basically easily summarized into three categories. We have wealth protection down here, which is basically protecting your current income and also your future earnings. Then we have wealth accumulation, which is assisting people to grow in their wealth, to actually grow their money and have a proper wealth at the end towards a retirement. And finally, wealth distribution. Now, wealth distribution is basically to separate and distribute, to give off your wealth to your loved ones, to your family members, and things like that. Right? So we do this for individuals and business people alike, and also corporates. Now, our main idea is basically to give is more blessed than to receive. And over the years, we have actually had many, many charitable events, talks, and seminars. And what we actually realized is, after talking to many, many people, this MCO has actually created a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry for people. And we've heard many things. We've heard things like pay cuts. We've heard things like unemployment. We've heard things like working from home. So, and the stresses from these things are real. I spoke to one of my clients. He said, working from home, you think easy. Yeah. I work for a while. My son wants to eat. I work for a while. My grandmother wants coconut. So it's a lot of things. It's a lot of stress. Okay. But actually the stress is real. And that is why we actually wanted to have an expert today. We realized that talking about this is a very crucial topic. So now, this is why we have Dr. Azlin today from Beacon Hospital. And a little background on Dr. Azlin. Dr. Azlin has a strong passion in community and social preventive medicine. She graduated in Queen's University at Belfast. Her housemanship and training was in internal medicine as a senior house officer in UK. Her former training she was a former trainee lecturer in family medicine in University Malaya Medical Center. Now, she aims to educate, inspire, and encourage others to lead a healthy lifestyle. In short, to empower people to take control of their health. She joined Beacon International Hospital last year to head the medical team in the health screening and hopes to inculcate these beliefs that all medical and nursing staffs. Now, outside of work, Dr. Azlin is part of a team of volunteers in Beacon International Hospital and the Islamic Relief Team, which are both very active in giving healthcare and promoting health amongst refugees and Rohingyas, as well as the Orang Aslis. Dr. Azlin, are you here with us? Yes, she is. So without further ado, Dr. Azlin.
Hi.
Let me stop my share here. Someone told me you look very photogenic in the picture, doctor.
I know. I think that that photo has been
All right, so I'll give it to
edited
you.
accordingly. So, shall I start? Hi, hi. Am I on now? Hi. Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for having me today. Hi, Sanjeev. So, the photo has been edited. I think, and I hope I don't look too different from the photo. Uh, okay, so thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. So today we're going to talk about how do we manage our stress and anxiety during these difficult times. This is a new horizon for all of us. Something that 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 is very much we consider unprecedented. So how do we actually deal with it? So I hope I can help um, uh, as many people as possible through this talk. I don't pretend to be an expert in this, as this is something really very new to all of us. But I hope I can address some of the issues that all of you are facing. So okay, so first, I'm going to talk a little bit about COVID-19, just very briefly, since we have so much more to talk about. So, so that we stick within the time. I'm going to talk a bit about anxiety and stress, what they are, and then what triggers them, and especially in this COVID-19 era, how do we face them? How do we deal with them? And how do we help our loved ones and our children as well? Okay, so COVID-19. We all heard about it in December 2019. In fact, in November, end of November, it was only in China. We thought it was all confined to China. You know, for most of us, it seemed very remote, something that would not come to us. But unfortunately, within a matter of a month, 2 months, it came to our borders. So initially, the virus was very much linked to China, and it created a lot of prejudice. So WHO decided to rename it so that take away the geographical prejudice against bats, prejudice against Asians in general. So decided to call it SARS as a severe acute respiratory syndrome, COVID coronavirus 2. So SARS-CoV-1 was what we saw in 2002, and now we have SARS-CoV-2. So COVID is coronavirus disease. So it's what the disease is called. COVID-19 and 2019 is when it all started to appear. So like I mentioned, the numbers just went really quickly. Just in February 2020, we see like an explosion of all the cases all over the world. Death started coming in. We see, countries like Italy getting affected, and soon enough it came to Malaysia. And then we started, and we hear before this people saying that SARS was a lot. SARS in 2002 was deadlier, but within a few months we saw that we were wrong. In fact, they say that now COVID is about 10 times deadlier than SARS. So yeah, naturally it caused a lot of anxiety and panic. And for me, just saying all those facts, I'm sure some of you are getting anxious already hearing all those things. So it is it's not something unusual for you to feel anxious and stressed out in this situation, because there's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of what ifs. Okay, so just talk about stress and anxiety. Okay, it's kind of something that we use frequently. So what are the difference? Stress is a response to a threat. Anxiety is a reaction to the stress. Okay, and it's important to note that stress and anxiety affect every one of us. Okay, and they are essential for every one of us as well. Okay, without stress and anxiety, we won't be performing. Okay, so in essence, it's stress and anxiety induces the fight and fight response. So we will react and we will perform better. So at its best, stress and anxiety will make you perform optimally. But if it's prolonged or if it's too much, unfortunately, it can be detrimental. So it can cause complete meltdown. It can affect you physically, and so when we talk about stress and anxiety, we also link it to depression. So again, prolonged stress and anxiety. Okay,
Yeah.
so are you back? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Sanjeev?
hear. Let me
Okay,
stop
okay.
sharing.
So I don't know where I got cut off. So I'll just continue with
No problem. Let
and
me stop sharing on my end. Okay, so we have you back on.
okay. So
Apologies on that. Yeah.
it's okay. So we got cut off at the previous, yeah, this one, I think. Yeah, this one, right? So,
Yes.
right. Okay, so I'll continue from here. Okay.
Yes, please.
So we're talking about very much talking about stress and anxiety. So stress and anxiety, if it's prolonged, like I say, it can be detrimental. So it can even lead to depression. Okay. Um, Depression is a state that you totally lose yourself. You totally cannot function, and we don't want you to get to that stage, because when it goes, when it goes really bad, you can just spiral down. Okay, so so what actually influences our mental health, right? Okay, so I'm focusing on the era that we are in now, the COVID-19 era. Okay, so money, family, health, work. Okay, normally these are the four things that actually can influence our mental health. Okay, but in this era of COVID, unfortunately, there are other things that we never would have thought about. Most of us, more like it. So there's social and physical isolation. Talking about quarantine. Right now, those who have to go on quarantine, and for most of us, MCOs, they have to go through MCO. And then information, getting so much information, and then uncertainty. We are all heading towards, not heading, we are already in this very uncertain period. Okay, and home circumstances. I'll go through this with all of you in detail. Okay, so um, so okay, one of the things that actually influence our mental health is the fear of getting sick. Okay, the fear our health. So this is more so in this era, in this time when COVID-19 is very real. Um, we hear people getting sick, we hear people getting infected, we hear our DG reporting every day, and it becomes a point that we might, we think that, when they say that, especially when they say that this disease in most cases do not have any symptoms, the more, and if you do have symptoms, it mimic your normal cough and cold. So, we start to think that everything becomes, is it COVID? Is it, so it becomes, it can be overwhelming to a certain extent. And then you start worrying about people around you. Like when I talk to my colleagues who are, who are frontliners in MOH, so their worry is more about them infecting their kids, their family. because like they say, they sign up for the job, they choose to become doctors, but not their family members. So the fear of getting sick and fear of getting other people, making other people sick. Okay, that's one reason why you will get anxious and worried. And then the constant bombarding of all the news. I know, I mean, I went through this the first, when it started getting quite serious, it started hitting us. We've seen more and more cases. I was reading from the Star, and then it wasn't good enough. So I was reading from News Straits Times. It wasn't good enough. So I went into the Guardian in the UK. So, and then, you know, it was just good enough. So you just started trying to get more and more information. And I realized that it kind of brought me down. And then, you know, you started reading about Boris Johnson getting it, because, you know, it's more and more death. And then I don't know whether all of you ever got, you know, from WhatsApp, you know, people, you see like bodies being disposed in Italy. So all those things, you know, get fed into you. It just brings you down, just creates a lot of anxiety. And then when you go, you know, go to the supermarkets, you started seeing like the shelves were getting empty. So that even fits to all this, to the anxiety. And of course, it's the unknown. Okay, so many things are unknown right now. We don't know the behavior of this virus. We're getting a lot of reports saying that some people are even saying that people, the cases in Korea, there was a reinfection in Korea, but it turned out to be not quite true. They said that it's probably viral shedding, or they don't quite know yet. So there's a lot of unknown in this disease. And what happens next also, there's a lot of unknown in what happens next. So how are we going to come out of MCO? How are we going to balance, how is the government going to balance between the health of the public and the economy? So, and then there's also about, you know, jobs being lost, you know, Berjaya Group has reported austerity. They're going to go start cutting all the benefits. Oil and gas, all the oil and gas industry is affected. Everybody, I mean, hotels, hotel industry, tourism. So you're hearing people talking about recession, about depression. It's going to be worse than the Great Depression. So all these uncertainties will further feed into our anxiety, our worry. And then, yes, the more obvious thing, the one that is affecting every single one of us, even children, our kids, is the MCO. You know, you have suddenly your routine changes. Children can't go to school, you can't go to work, you can't meet your parents. So, and for some people living alone, so that's even worse. And don't forget, people have to go on quarantine. So they have to be totally shut off, not having any physical contact, more like it, shutting off. I mean, we still have social media that we can rely on, but not having physical contact, physical isolation. In fact, the effect physical isolation has been shown in many researches that it is detrimental detrimental in many ways for us, because we are social beings. Humans are social beings. So there was one study that showed that people who was isolated has risk for cardiovascular disease, for heart disease, as bad as smokers and obesity. Okay? And they did a study on mice, and they found increase in growth of tumor, of cancerous cells. So that's how bad prolonged physical social isolation can be. And then when you are cooped up in your house, what happens at home also becomes augmented. So we see in China, after the lockdown was over, there was a spike in divorces. And then there is also, now we're reading more and more about sexual violence and sorry, domestic violence at home is on the rise, not just in Malaysia, it's all over the world. So it's worrying. So MCO is not, it is showing more and more cracks in the social, in our social fabric, and if it's prolonged, it's going to get worse. Okay, so what else? So we were talking about, Sanjeev was mentioning about working from home. So fortunately or unfortunately, fortunately, I guess that we as doctors, we still get to go to work. So I still continue my normal routine. But my husband is working from home. So I see how it can affect one person, because you wake up, your workspace and your home space remains remains very much the same. So how do you switch off? Especially when your work is so demanding, how do you switch off? How do you move from your work to home? And not to mention the distractions that you can have at home. So I don't know whether you've seen the viral video of this lady doing her work, and then her husband walked past in his underwear, because these are all new to everybody. So these are the things that can cause people to get anxious, can get stressed out. So there was a study done which looked into how Malaysians reacted to MCO. So the study looked into social media. They looked into 18 different websites to see how Malaysians, to see the emotions that was expressed by Malaysians. So on 16th of March, when MCO was declared, and then they looked 5 days later, 5 days into MCO, right? So what they found that when MCO was announced, there was a lot of anger. You see, about close to 50% of people were angry, because it's more because of this worry about the we were treading into unknown territory. So the uncertainties, mainly they reported work-related measures, the work-related issues that people worry about. And then there were also things like the fear of obtaining food, essential goods, the fear of food disruption, job uncertainty. So those were the things that led to anger at the first, day one of MCO. And then after 5 days, they find that the anger and fear has gradually subsided. People began to adapt and adjust to MCO. Okay. And then they find that even, you see, joy has peaked on day 5. People were looking at was more humorous, and this used to MCO. Okay, but this was only, the study was only done up to day 5. Okay, so we have yet to see, we have not seen what it's like now after 1 month. They also find that so the searches, when they look at the search engine, people were also looking at the things that people were looking out for was recession, stock markets, about survival even. So it shows that people are anxious, people are worried. Okay, so now I'm going to go in talking about a bit about symptoms of anxiety. Okay. I need to emphasize that anxiety is normal. It's okay for us to feel anxious. And in fact, being anxious will, to a certain extent, protect us, because that is the one that will drive us to wash our hands, to wear our masks, to keep our distance. Okay, so symptoms of anxiety. Okay, in mild, when you are anxious, in a normal degree, as a normal reaction, you do get a bit of these symptoms. You get a bit of sweating. Some people get a bit of stomach discomfort. You get palpitations. Okay, but when they go into the unhealthy, the detrimental kind of anxiety, this is when you see all these extreme cases. They sweat a lot. They can't sleep at night. They can't eat. They little things trigger them. They get angry quickly. Some people have trouble concentrating. Okay, so these are the symptoms. This when you get to this stage, this is the stage that you need to take control. Okay. So this slide, I want to emphasize that that not all anxiety, not all getting stressed and being anxious, not all of those are abnormal. It is normal. Okay, and there are differences between anxiety disorder and just being anxious. Okay. So panic. Okay, when anxiety gets over you, you become panic. Okay, thoughts come racing into your mind. Thoughts that can, in a way, it's unreasonable. And for most people who experience anxiety disorder, they do realize that what they are feeling is unreasonable, unreasonable, but they just have no control in overcoming that. Okay, so the heart starts beating, they start sweating. Okay, so this is when you need to know when to say stop and try to relax and change your switch your mind. Easier said than done, but it's not as easy as that for somebody who has experienced anxiety. Okay, so what I want to impart here is advice that I can give you to help you cope with it. It's not an anxiety disorder. It's something that you have to keep on practicing doing it. Okay, it's something that you have to train your mind doing it. Okay, so when you feel like you are getting towards to get very anxious, first thing is to tell yourself to stop doing it. Try and take a deep breath. Try and observe the situation. Okay, and when I say observe situation, it's what you can do is try to try to rationalize situations. So say, oh gosh, I feel I'm dying. I'm going to get the disease. I'm going to die. But stop and think. People in my house, in this house, none of them are getting sick. So unlikely I'm getting sick. I've washed my hands, I've taken all the precautions, I've stayed at home, so there's no reason why she gets sick. So when you try to rationalize, it sometimes helps for you to calm yourself down. Okay? And then there's this, what we call face COVID. It's something that psychiatrists have come up with. We call it face COVID. Okay, because we recognize that this is something we're anxious and we worried in this time that is so uncertain. It's normal. Okay, it's very common. So first thing you do, and when you feel that you're anxious, is to focus. Focus on what you can control. Okay, because there are many things that are out of your control. But focus on what you can control. Focus on what you are doing here and now. Okay, so and then move on. Acknowledge your feelings. It's okay. It's your thought. Acknowledge your thoughts, feelings, your desires, knowledge it. Notice what you're feeling, because oh, I am having feeling of loneliness. I'm having feelings of anger. Okay, and then come back into your body. After acknowledging feelings, come back into your body and try to connect your physical body, like pressing your feet on the ground, or just by pressing your fingers together and just put pressure on your fingers, and just take deep breath. Just take slow, deep breath. Okay, and then engage in what you're doing. So if that helps in the the physical thing that you're doing is helping you, just sit on it and engage. Okay, if that alone doesn't help, try to engage to all your other senses, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're smelling. So try to be at that moment and give a full attention at that moment. Okay, what we're trying to do is really to divert your mind from whatever's causing you to be anxious. Okay, and then C, committed action. Okay, so it's taking effective actions that are guided by your core values. Okay? Ask yourself, what is it? What is it that that you can do right now to improve your life, okay, or the lives of people around you? Okay, whatever it is, be committed. Okay, whether it's writing down notes and taking photos and send the notes over from by WhatsApp to your the people that you care, writing down write small sweet messages to everybody that you care. So be committed. If that makes you feel better, then be committed to and do it. Okay, and then opening up. Oh, so it is important for you to open up, for you to acknowledge your feelings and to open up, because opening up is you making room for yourself to for you to be able to be kind to yourself, because you can't stop yourself from feeling that way. I mean, certainly you can't, but you can do something to, you can be kind to yourself by telling yourself that it is okay to feel this way, to acknowledge that you're feeling that way, and you are taking, you are actually doing something to help you get over it. Okay, and then V, values. So know what values that matter to you. Okay, so what sort of person you are, how do you want to help people and treat others. So this, by helping others, it will also help you take control of yourself. Okay, and then I is identify resources. So that's resources that is available to you, for help, assistance, support, advice, any resources that's available to you. So be it your family, your friends, your medical providers, or even the emergency services. In fact, we can also go to for help resources online. So there is this website called CBTI couch.com. So there are tools in the website that help you to manage your anxiety. It's like having your own psychiatrist, your own therapist with you. Try and see whether it helps. And then D is disinfect and distance. So knowing that you're taking the precaution against the disease will help you later to, when you get the anxiety, to help you rationalize yourself, that you have done what you need to do and there shouldn't be any reason to get, you might have the disease. So disinfect and distance, that's D. Okay. That's a long. After when all said, about changing your behavior, changing your mind. physically, just by breathing in and out will help as well. Because sometimes most of them are getting anxiety attack. It's very difficult to take stock of your feelings, to control your mind during the attack. Okay, so sometimes just by whenever you have attack, your brain just stop rationalizing, stop to tell you what's relevant. So by doing something that is physical, like breathing in, like taking slow, deep breath, can stop these emotions. Okay, can help stop this emotion, this hyper reactivity to your emotions. Okay, so it sounds easy enough, but at that point it can be quite difficult. So you need to train yourself. So it's about taking deep breath in through your stomach, open your mouth, deep breath in, count to 5, and slowly exhale out. Okay, do this repeatedly for about 5 times. For most patients, they actually find that it's very helpful. Okay, and then other things you can do is because when you are anxious, your body tenses up and we get very tensed up. So there's this thing called progressive muscle relaxation. So what you do is you just squeeze your fist really hard. If you have the stress ball, just squeeze it really hard and slowly let it go. Okay. And then, or you scrunch your body like a tortoise, trying to get into a shell. Just squeeze it really hard and try to let go. And slowly let it go. Slowly relax yourself. And then you can, another thing is your feet. Just plant your feet grounded to the floor. Just and curl your toes and slowly relax yourself. And then nothing is just to sit down, push your heels, tighten all your hamstring, your thigh muscles, feel the chair supporting you, and just relax yourself. Okay. The next side is about that as well. Just if there's anything else you've forgotten about everything else, just plant your feet to the ground. Just sit down. Let the chest sit up straight. Just feel the chest supporting you, and just breathe slowly, deep breath in and out, inhaling and exhaling slowly, and come to 5. And then just look around you. Say out loud 5 things that you see, okay? And then 4 things that you hear, 3 things that you can feel, and 2 things that you can smell. Okay, this is really to get your mind off from what is bothering you. Okay, and just continue repeating this, okay, until you calm yourself down. Okay, but it is important to know when you need to get help. Okay, yes, all these things that I've said can help you at that moment, but if in the long run you find that those things are not helping much, you are having mood changes, you're not eating well, your appetite is getting very poor, you can't sleep at night, you're not doing things that you used to love doing, you start withdrawing from people that you love. So that's when you really need help. Okay, get help online, or call your therapist, call your psychiatrist, call your doctor, even your family doctor, your GP, to get help. Okay. So before we even get into the state, the state that you feel that you need to take deep breath in, you need to hold, start tightening your muscle. Before we go into that, there are certain things you can do from preventing you from going into that. So these are things that you should do every day, so that it will keep you, keep you from going into the anxiety, anxious state. So stay connected. Okay, it's important to remember that social isolation and physical isolation is what we are propagating. It's not social isolation. You should keep yourself connected to your loved ones. Keep yourself connected to the people that matters to you. Okay. There's Facebook, you can connect through FaceTime, WhatsApp call is free. So many ways that you can do. So being physically isolated doesn't mean you have to be socially isolated. Okay, and that's very important. And limit your internet exposure. Okay, reading too much, getting into too much detail, sometimes it's not good, especially when it comes to COVID, because it's just going to make you even more worried. And make sure you get all your information from reliable sources. So MOH have their website, WHO, CDC, these are all reliable websites. Don't read into your social media, your WhatsApp, your viral messages, don't. And limit your time on the internet, okay? Because spending too much time online is also not good, okay? Having daily routines help, okay? Especially when you are working from home, okay? So, you know, yes, you don't have to go to work, but waking up, taking a shower, make your bed, have your breakfast, to create this working from home, but doesn't mean you can wear you should wear your pajamas. You know, so this will help keep you a sense of you know what you're doing as well. And then take breaks for lunch, and then you know, after a certain time, just stop work and continue do what you normally do with your family. Okay, so routines help, just to the extent, you know, create a certain line between work and home. Okay, get a new hobby. So now you have time, you're not going out anymore. So you can start, I don't know, sewing, learn a language, cooking. Men can cook too. Yeah. And exercise, very important. I personally think that exercise really helps bring my mood up. So now that I can't run, I've exercises you can do. Find one that suits you. I found one 30-minute Zumba exercise that I do every day on YouTube. So it helps. And you know, I might just switch from running now to Zumba after this. I don't know, because it's fun. And I do it with my daughters. So it becomes something of we do as a family, and it's something that is fun rather than a chore. And being a competitive family, we see who can last longer, who's fitter than the other. So yeah, so it's fun. And I find ways to relax you. So whether it's reading or listen to music, or for me, it's ironing. I find ironing relaxing. So yeah, so whatever, for some people it's cooking. So whatever that suits you. And I find activities that you can do together as a family. Like I said, like I do Zumba with my daughters, and then like, yeah, we're baking more. So over the weekend, we baked brioche, and then we also made donuts. And then we started doing paintings together. So, you know, it keeps, it makes your kids, it gives your, you know, keeps your kids occupied. At the same time, it's something that everybody enjoys. And don't forget your parents, your loved ones. Okay, so yes, you can't see them, but doesn't mean you are totally disconnected from that. So technology helps. So every weekend, weekdays I will try and call my parents. Weekends is the time that we do our FaceTime. We do our WhatsApp call for video call with my kids as well. and then keep your loved ones safe, because that, you know, worrying about their health will affect you as well. So taking all the precautions, making your kids wash their hands, wear masks, keep them indoors. Same thing to your parents, always tell them to stay indoors, limit their, going out. Medications, what medications your parents are taking. So it is very important that if you need to take the medications on a daily basis, you need to take the medication on a daily basis, regardless. Okay, so like the first week of MCO, my mom called me to say that she ran out of medication because she missed the appointment and she didn't think MCO will happen. So so we had to arrange for medications to be sent to her. So that's something you can do. Make your parents have their medications. Stock up on food, because well, we shouldn't stock up to the point of panic buying, no. But in a sense, it helps to alleviate some of our worries of perhaps, what if I run out of things? What if? So knowing that you have something, if I run out of this, that's fine. I still have this in. So that helps as well. So for example, I always buy fresh milk. So now I also buy the milk in carton. So if if I run out of fresh milk, I always have the milk in the carton to go buy. So yeah, just an example. So if you have parents, elderlies that live in nursing care homes, so yes, we've read all the news in Europe how COVID is affecting those, especially in the nursing homes, because COVID affects most people above 60s. Now it affects everybody, but people above 60s tend to get sicker than others. So if you have loved ones, of parents, aunties, uncles who are in a nursing home, so what you can do is to monitor the situation. So work with the nursing home, know their protocol, see what you can do to protect your parents or your aunties, uncles. Okay, and it's very important, before you can take of other people, you have to take of yourself. Okay, so your emotional health is very important as well. So, and if you're sick, stay home. Need no contact to everybody else. Okay. And as parents, so being parents is in this time of MCO, I imagine can be very difficult. So I have girls, so luckily. But imagine having boys, full of energy, can be much worse. I mean, even having girls, I find that I have to constantly keep them occupied over the weekends when I'm not at work. So yeah. So we children have, but we must. It's important that we acknowledge that children too feel anxious. Children too get worried. Not just adults go through that. So the ways that we can help our children, I would say, can remember as remember. So R is reassure them. Stick to the facts. Let them know what's going on. So a friend of mine, a pathologist in Singapore, so she started discussing about how, the history of pandemics from the 1918 and all. So yeah, I mean, depends what stage your children are at. Young children, make it easy for them, to understand how important it is for them to stay at home, why we need to stay home. But also let them know that they are safe and you are there to keep them safe. So that will help them. Okay. Empower them. Yeah, so yes, empower them with the knowledge and understanding of what's going on. We can also empower them by, teaching them gratitude. So ask them to make notes for frontliners, for healthcare workers. The girl that wrote a letter to our DG, that the letter that went viral. So that's a way. It's not only teaching them values, it's also giving them, that they too are doing something, appreciating the healthcare workers. Okay, and then maintaining your own calm. So if you are anxious, your kids will get anxious too. So you need to manage yourself first. Again, okay, self-care is important before you manage somebody else. Okay, and then engage them. Like I say, do activities, play board games, bake together, or we play Kahoot. So yeah, if you guys haven't tried Kahoot, it's fun. So we always play Kahoot at home, and my kid seems to love it. Manage their emotions. So it's about acknowledging them. We need to acknowledge kids. Unfortunately, our culture is such that kids are tend to be pushed aside. So we need to acknowledge that. We need to acknowledge that they are feeling sad, that they're not seeing their friends. They're not able to go out and play. So we need to let them, we need to be there to listen to them. We might not have the solution to all their problems, but just by listening, you can go a long way. Okay. There's a booklet called I Am Corona. I think you can get it online that can also simplify things for your kids to help them understand what's going on. Okay. And then beware of social media. Okay, now kids are doing online studying. So schools are starting to give classes online. So you need to also be careful that, that they do not get too much into social media, too much to engross and getting themselves exposed to things that they're not supposed to be exposed to. Okay. Educate them, not just about COVID, also about values, about value of appreciating others, how doctors and nurses are working to help combat this disease, about appreciating cleaners, how important are the cleaners' job in helping us, keeping all of us safe by keeping places clean. And then can also educate them about science, about how vaccine works, about viruses, the natures of viruses, not just about COVID, but viruses in general, about hand washing, about hygiene. Okay, and then create routine for them. This is about creating structure, about giving them, because they don't go to schools anymore, they'll be at home the whole day. So you need to create a certain kind of structure. So creating a timetable will help, and then having family dinners, movie nights, continue with your routine that you normally do as well. Bedtime stories, continue with that. So that will create kind of structure for them. And there are so many online resources that you can go to. So these are just a few you can try. I've tried National Geographic Kids, it's really good. And then Hans Academy is very good as well. Okay, and your daily schedule, like what I mentioned, because this will create structure for them since, they're going to be at home from day to day. Okay, so saying all this, this is what we are right now. So we are hopefully, we are, we are flattening the curve and we are going to the right direction. But yes, there is still so much unknown, and we need to do our bit in, washing our hands, social distancing, and we should be all right if we continue to do all these things. Okay, so yeah, that's my talk for today. So what I want to say is what's important one thing that I want everybody to take home is isolation. Okay, it doesn't mean that you are at home alone. You are alone. You know, there are many ways for you to keep in touch with your loved ones. Okay. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Doctor. Actually, that was a really informative session. It it wasn't really only about COVID or this time. I think it's generally about managing stress and how we can handle it. I
Yeah.
truly really enjoyed it. One thing I would say is ironing will not lower my stress. So
It works for me.
not even close for me. That's very stressful for me. Okay, so anyways, I think we're going to jump into the Q&A. If anyone has any questions, please do click on the button on top of your screen. I will go to Q&A here first. There are some questions. One of the first question is, I've got a patient in this outbreak of COVID-19 and patient unable to sleep with medication. Yeah, so the patient is unable to sleep with medication. In the GP practice, can we give them some sedatives like Xanax or something?
Oh, okay. We must be very careful with sedative. Okay, so in any case, we need to try and understand the underlying cause. Okay, insomnia is a manifestation of what is going on, underneath. So we need to try and help them solve the underlying cause. Did they mention the underlying cause of the insomnia, that they're not able to sleep? Sanjeev?
No, it was not mentioned here actually.
Just having not being able to sleep. So is this a problem that has just occurred, or is this something that's been going on for a long time? It's just something that they need to establish. Yeah. So difficulty sleeping can be caused by a lot of things. So we need to take a proper history to make sure we're not missing things like hyperthyroidism that can be treated, and then to also make sure that they're not going through depression. So just giving sleeping pills is not a solution. It's it's just treating the symptom, but we're not treating the underlying cause. And it's important to know that people who take sleep medication, sleeping tablets like Xanax, they don't necessarily have good quality sleep. Okay, so because like I said, it's just treating the symptom. Okay?
So I've got a comment here. I've got two comments here from the person who asked the question. He mentions it's just occurred and there's no other medical problems.
It has just occurred. So the patient never had insomnia before.
That's what I collect.
So you need to understand why this is happening now. What's the underlying problem? Because just by giving sleeping tablets, we can't give sleeping tablets for a long time. It's not a long-term solution. So you can possibly give sleeping tablets for 2-3 days, a week perhaps, but it cannot be a long-term thing because they will get dependent on the sleeping tablets. And it's important to know that the sleep that they get is not a good quality sleep. So they will feel tired, they will feel, and that will further push them down into this depression, into whatever is the underlying cause. It can exacerbate the underlying cause. So it's important that you establish the underlying cause by taking a good history, okay, by talking to your patient.
Okay, I just need to ask you, doctor, how long do you have? Because I think we've got a few other questions. Can we wrap it up in about 10 minutes with?
10 minutes, yeah.
Okay, sure. So now I'll go to the next. I think there are others of more statements. Kids feel trapped at home, feeling bored, missing friends and sports. Parents are worried and schools are not open. I think your previous slide on parenting was very apt in regards to this. But what are your comments?
Yeah, this is something, like I said, this is something very unprecedented. It's very new to all of us. Adults want more kids. So it is difficult. But kids being kids, they adjust fairly quickly. So it's about us as adults trying, we need to engage them. We need to find ways to keep them occupied. Meeting friends, we have social media, so my kids are talking with their friends through Microsoft Teams. So yeah, they are video calling each other. So these are things that you can do. For sports, they're not doing sports activity. So alternatives would be, just to do exercise in the house or just in your front yard. If you have the luxury of having your own yard, yeah, so you can play, just do simple exercise. But it's about making the best of the situation now.
Mhm.
And I believe schools are also, uh, a lot of schools are trying to start online classes right now. So that will help the kids in a way to occupy their time and distract them as well. And they start seeing their friends. So um, that will also, give them some excitement. So I remember when my kids first started going to Microsoft Teams and started seeing their friends, they were so excited. So yeah, that would help. But hopefully this MCO won't last too long and the kids can, but the problem is the MCO might not last that long, but the physical distancing must continue. So that's going to be a challenge, which we don't really know how it's gonna, how it's gonna pan out. How is government gonna start opening schools again? So yeah, like I say, there's a lot of unknown right now.
I think what's interesting also is when you mentioned about lifting the MCO, but the social distancing must still be enforced. I think it was a
We do as much as
yeah.
how they're going to do it in schools remains to be seen. Um, but what we need to impart to our kids right now is the importance of washing hands to keep themselves, to cover their mouth when they cough, wear masks all the time if they can. So those are the things that we can do right now. Um, yeah. But
Okay.
like I said, as parents, we might not have the answers to everything, but just listening to them will help.
Yeah, I think the same with all of us, just speaking to someone about our frustrations. Next one, social distancing phobias, reluctant to help among neighbors in case of emergency as feeling afraid of being infected. I think this also correlates to another comment that I saw earlier, how to overcome the fear of patients going to hospitals for follow-up treatment, fear of contracting the infections in the hospital.
Um, okay, I just want to say that this fear is normal. It is warranted. It's something that, it's not something that is out of the ordinary to feel this way. Okay. Um, but again, it's back to taking all the precautions. Okay. Coming to the hospitals themselves are taking precautions. So hospitals are screening everybody that comes in. Yes, we cannot fully 100% screen everybody because a lot of people do not have any symptoms, but hospitals are doing as much as they can to screen people. Okay, keeping your distance, at least even say 2 meters to be safe, wearing your masks, washing your hands, do not touch your face. You can do to prevent yourself from getting infected. So, so if you had issues, you know,
Are you with us?
Arjun, Arjun,
Yeah.
hello,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, so and did I answer the question? So yeah, I mean, you need to go to hospital. You need to go to hospital. Reluctant to help neighbors. Again, it's about going back to the basic of, washing your hands, keeping your distance. If you want to give, act of giving food, you can still do that, but make sure you just wash your hands. Again, it's the same thing. It's the same precautions we have.
Okay, I think we have two questions that are correlated. Are the frontliners as doctors, perhaps this is your personal opinion or even maybe an initiative that the government actually has, are the frontliners as doctors, nurses, and healthcare providers protected with some kind of coverage, example, insurance? And
You
yeah,
mean by MOH, by the Ministry of Health?
yeah, I think we have certain coverages for if you would have accidentally hurt yourself or accidentally got infected or something like that. So is there something like from MOH or from the hospital itself or the companies provide?
Not that I am aware of. We unfortunately it comes as part and parcel of our job. So the hospitals, MOH, government has a certain responsibility in protecting the healthcare workers. But in terms of coverage from MOH and the hospitals, I don't think so. I don't think that is.
Okay, and the last question, I think this is probably an agent asking, or maybe someone wants to approach you for insurance, I'm not sure. Do you think it's important for all to secure with a basic life insurance plan, uh, unsure of leaving something behind in an uneventful event happens during this time, example, COVID?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not just during COVID, it's all the time. Um, you can never know what's going to happen, and it is always wise to protect yourself. Yes, definitely. It's not just this time, maybe more so now, but yeah.
All right, so with that, I think we've covered all the question and answers. Firstly, I really want to thank you for your time and your knowledge, Dr. Azlin. And it was really, really fruitful even for me because I've realized that some of the things you touched on were stages that I was going through even yesterday.
Yeah,
So
I went through. I mean, I cannot say that I went through it as well in the beginning. In the early stages, it's seeing the number rising, and then I have friends who are in MOH telling me all this. It did get to me as well. But so it is a normal thing for us
okay,
humans.
I've got one last personal question actually. How do we keep this at the top of our head when we're actually going through this, the motions of our emotions, and we're like kind of stuck with it? How do we actually bring to our mind, okay, gotta clench your fist and
Okay, because it's normal that you have this kind of emotions. It's just not normal if it's prolonged and it occupies you to the extent that it affects your life.
mm,
To the point that you are paralyzed with it. So because it's normal for us to feel anxious and worried for a short time, and then we get on, we move on, we forget, and then it comes back to us, and then we worry again. That's normal.
yeah.
But if it paralyzes you, if it comes to a point that you can't do anything else, it just occupies your mind all the time. That's when you know that you need help, that there is something wrong. It comes to a point that you can't breathe. You feel that you're trapped. That's when the time you need to take control. So yes, yeah.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so let me just thank you once again, really, for your time and for all your effort, really, and for Beacon for actually hosting something like this. It'll take me about 5 to 7 minutes to just wrap up the slides that I have. If you don't mind, just hang on for a while, there, guys.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Share screen. Okay, so coming back to what we was mentioning earlier, in regards to our services, in terms of from the bottom up, wealth protection, which is protecting what we are earning and what we are going to earn in the future, wealth accumulation, which is actually investment planning and things like that, and wealth distribution, which is will writing, how do you distribute your wealth to our family members. it is more apparent now to actually consider these things. And basically, it's just to say that Zurich, Manulife, Rockwales, and Asahin, they are service providers, and we use them exactly to assist our clients in their personal goals. Right. So be proactive towards the stress, like Dr. Azlin mentioned. Also take the opportunity to review yourself and your family's current policy coverage. Consider if you've actually left behind enough money for you to settle your liabilities, which is housing loan, car loans, and things like that, living expenses, education funds, and also what you want to leave behind for your beloved ones if you're no longer around. Also consider how you have actually written your will, the whole estate, and how you actually want to disperse it in a very effective manner. Next. So also maybe you could consider seeking alternative career or business opportunities at this time frame. Mainly, if you look back on the polls, the stress was actually on incomes. So it'll be good to actually consider a career that can actually sustain you during a crisis. Be your own boss without having to pay salaries or to your team members. Like for example, what's happening right now, Miss Lai and team, she actually did this event. We are joining in forces and we are actually just working together. We are not being paid, you know. So we get to share the pool of expertise amongst ourselves also. Now, stay tuned for our upcoming talks. We have a business opportunity preview on the 1st May and the 2nd May. Family business succession plan on the 6th of May, that's on Mandarin. Estate planning on the 8th of May. All is by registration and all will be via Zoom call just like this. Also by Beacon, they have a talk which is understanding cancer and practical considerations during COVID-19 crisis. This will be in Indonesia, but then the Zoom call, obviously it's international, so you can join in as well. Do register via the link below there. And this is our final business opportunity, which we mentioned earlier, the 1st of May, 2020, 3 p.m. Now with that, we would like to thank every single one of you for joining us. Really appreciate your time, your knowledge also as well, Dr. Azlin and Beacon. And stay positive, stay safe, and stay healthy, everybody. Thank you very much.